You ever heard a voice that shouldn't know your name? Something that slips through the cracks of the airwaves, whispering things it shouldn't? Last week, my radio started talking back, and it hasn't stopped. I'm Elliot, and this is what I heard. It was Tuesday night, late, too late for anyone sane to be awake. I was in the garage sorting junk when the old radio caught my eye. A boxy thing, coated in dust, the kind my dad used to fix cars to. It hadn't worked in years. I flipped the switch anyway. Nothing, just dead air. Then, a hum. It was faint, like a wasp trapped in a jar. I twisted the dial, and it scratched to life. A voice, low and wet, like it was choking on itself, said, "Elliot." I froze. It said it again. "Elliot." 3 times total, each slower than the last. "Elliot." I hadn't told anyone I was out there. I hadn't spoken in hours. The voice kept going. "Elliot, you left the dog in the rain." My stomach dropped. When I was 9, my mutt Rusty got loose in a storm. I lied and said he ran off, that he drowned in the creek. I never told anyone, not even my parents, not a soul. The voice kept going. "Elliot, the red lighter in the shed." That was last summer. I'd torched an old journal and watched the pages curl myself. No one else saw. How did it know? I thought it was a sick and twisted prank or some AM station bleeding through. But then it said more, and I yanked the plug from the outlet. Silence. Then I smashed it with a hammer from the workbench, right through the speaker. Bits flew everywhere. I went to bed shaking. The next morning, it was on again, right there in the corner, humming. That night, it got worse. Voices, plural now, overlapping each other, reciting my day before I lived it. "Elliot eats oatmeal at 8:12. Elliot drives past the gas station." Things which I do hours later. It was predicting me. I couldn't take it anymore, so I traced the signal. Some old frequency map online pointed to a tower that was 10 miles out and abandoned since the 90s. I drove there at dusk. The place was a skeleton, a rusted metal skeleton, cables swaying like veins. Static poured from everywhere. It was thick in the air. I could feel it all over my skin. I climbed the base to get a better look. There was no equipment, no power lines, just a shape in the haze, hunched and faceless. It turned to me. I felt its eyes bore into my soul. Then static screamed my name. I ran, straight for the car as fast as I could. I slammed that car door and floored it home. The tower was empty. There was no tech, no source, no workers. Just that thing, that static. I locked the doors and smashed the radio this time. To pieces. Midnight hit. My car's stereo, which has been off for months, crackles. "You shouldn't have come, Elliot." Every word was clear as day. Then silence. But last night, I heard static from the wires overhead. Maybe it's not done. Maybe it's listening now. What about you? Ever heard something you can't explain? Tell me below. And next time, we will see what's watching from the wires. The silence didn't hold. It's me, Elliot. You remember. The radio, the tower, that thing that knew my name. I thought smashing it would stop this. But I was wrong. Midnight hit, and my car's stereo came alive. You shouldn't have come, Elliot. And now it's inside my house. This all happened in one night, that same night, and I'm still trying to process it. I got home and locked the doors. I checked every bolt, even braced a chair under the knob. That line from the car stereo wouldn't leave my head. It was stuck there, looping endlessly. I told myself it was over, that the radio was in pieces, scattered across the garage floor. I sat on the couch, hands unsteady, staring at the TV. It was off, reflecting the room in its dark screen. Then I heard static. Not from the TV, not from the garage, but from upstairs. A low buzz seeped through the ceiling, like something waking up. I grabbed a kitchen knife, old, dull, but solid, and started up the stairs. Each step creaked, louder than the hum, setting my nerves on edge. My bedroom door was ajar, and I hadn't left it that way. Inside my room, my dad's old clock radio, which had been unplugged for years, was glowing. Red digits flickered. 12:01, and I was shaking. Static poured out, thick and wet, almost alive. Then it spoke. "Elliot, you can't hide." My name stretched, slow. I could feel the word lingering on my skin. The room smelled off, like sulfur and burnt wires. I drove the knife into the clock's face and sparks flew. Plastic broke, but the voice didn't stop. It laughed, a gurgling sound, no face to it. The static slid down the walls like oil spreading. I stepped back out of the room and slammed the door closed. I pushed a table against it and ran downstairs. I rounded the corner, and that's when I noticed the TV on. Static snow filled the screen, and my name cut through. "Elliot!" I jolted and pulled the plug. The screen stayed on. Footsteps came from the kitchen. Heavy footsteps, something dragging. I didn't want to check. Every instinct told me to run, but the doors were locked. I trapped myself. The kitchen light flickered, casting sharp shadows. I tightened my grip on the knife and edged around the corner. Something was there, tall, hunched, no face, just static, rippling like a broken signal. Its edges blurred into the air, arms too long, fingers twitching like they were searching. It didn't move, just hummed, loud enough to rattle my teeth. The air felt heavy and thick with burnt wiring. I lunged and stabbed the knife where a chest might be. It sank in, no blood, just a hiss, like air escaping. The thing didn't react. It tilted what should have been its head, and the static screamed my name, piercing my ears. I stumbled back and hit the counter. The knife was gone, swallowed into it. It stepped forward, dragging one leg, testing me. The lights cut out, darkness took over, but its glow lit the room, sickly green, pulsing. I grabbed a skillet from the stove and swung it hard. It connected, metal rang out, and the thing staggered, static flickering. For a second, I thought I had it. I knew I had it. Then it straightened too fast and came at me. Its fingers caught my arm, cold, buzzing, like a live wire. My skin blistered under it. I fought to break free, then ran for the basement stairs. I slammed the door and locked it. The hum stayed close. The basement was all I had left. Cold concrete, damp air, and one flickering bulb swinging above. Tools were scattered on the workbench. A hammer, a crowbar, and a propane torch. The door shook, wood splintering. I picked up the crowbar, solid, heavy, and waited. The lock broke and the door swung open. It didn't walk in. It glided, static, trailing like smoke. The hum filled everything, vibrating the walls, my bones. I swung the crowbar, aimed where a neck might be. It hit. The thing flickered, split like a bad signal, then pulled itself back together. Faster, angrier. It rushed me, pinned me to the wall. That faceless mass was close. No eyes, no mouth, just static, whispering my past. Rusty, the lighter. It was pulling my breath, my thoughts into that hum. I wasn't done, not tonight. I reached for the workbench and found the propane torch. It came at me again. I flicked it on, and a blue flame roared up. I shoved it into the static. A shriek ripped through, not human, not anything I had ever heard, just noise. It pulled back, edges burning, fraying apart. I kept fighting, chased it with the torch, forced it up the stairs. The house trembled, lights were flashing. It hit the kitchen, shrieking, and stumbled. I grabbed a gas can from the garage, which was half full, sloshing with every step, and poured it over. The static screamed my name, over and over, relentless. I struck the match and tossed it. Fire exploded, swallowing it whole. It screamed for an eternity, it seemed. Then the hum stopped and silence took its place. The house smelled of gas and ash. I stood there breathing hard, torch still in hand, watching the last embers fade. It was gone. No hum, no whispers. I'd won, but the night wasn't finished. Outside, the power lines buzzed, low, steady, like they were waiting. I checked the garage. The radio was still broken, but its pieces glowed, a faint red light. Upstairs, the clock radio showed 12:01 again. I'd fought it, burned it out, but something stayed behind. I don't sleep now. Every buzz, every flicker, I hear it, waiting. That was my night. What about yours? Tell me below, and maybe next time Static Screams will look into what's hiding in your walls. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It helps our channel grow. We're shooting for 1,000 subscribers. Until next time.